Elon, are you with us? Oh, no, he is.
I am on. Hey, I think so.
Hey! Elon, we are in the room where you were last year. It is even more full than last year.
Okay. I apologize for being here, but by the way, it's my son's graduation is tomorrow.
People are expecting you here. So can you be and be with us now?
You know, teleportation would be incredibly helpful. I mean, in the last week, I think I've done enough kilometers to go around the world maybe twice, literally. And I apologize again for not being there in person. It's just my son's graduation is tomorrow, so I need to be there in person.
No, thank you very much.
To really the conversation
the time to
answer your questions.
Yeah. Do you hear us well? Is it good for you?
You're coming through perfectly. Am I coming through okay?
Is it okay? Not very loud.
Okay, I can try to, you know, I'll come closer to the computer. Is this better?
Okay. Make some noise. Great. So, Elon, I have put a title based on a movie of Woody Allen, which is everything you always wanted to know about Elon, but were afraid to ask. So okay. That is the theme of our conversation.
Is my head giant?
But in reality, it is not about Elon, but about what Elon does. And I will start immediately with Neuralink. I will just kick off with the 2 or 3 questions in order to warm up the room, because people are shy, not ready for the questions. So I have to warm it up progressively. N'est-ce pas? Oh! And I would like to ask about Neuralink, but before I put the question, I would like that we see a very short video of the patient.
Sure.
Can we have the video?
You're moving the cursor, Nolan, just by thinking about where you want it to go, or is it your eyes?
No, it's just me thinking about wherever I want it to go.
Oh, man. So you're not even tracing it with your eyes, you're just looking at it.
Nope, I can move it, and I can move the cursor around, whatever I would like to do. I don't have to be staring at it at all. Yeah, that's all me, man.
And you can play chess, you can play video games. What other applications that you found useful for it so far?
Yeah, man, there's so much. I can send all of my emails. I've been, doing all of my scheduling, replying to everyone. I've been, reading books. I listen to audiobooks, just all sorts of stuff. And it doesn't really take much effort either.
When we move
I think we can help a lot of people with brain injuries. I mean, ultimately, with an implantable device, you can, I think, address almost any brain or spine injury. So the first part that we have there is called telepathy. So it enables you to use your phone or computer just by thinking. So you could do that. Move the cursor literally with his eyes closed. It's reading signals from the motor cortex and brain. The next product is blind sight, which will enable people who have lost both eyes or have no eyesight whatsoever to see. And this is directly interfacing with the optical processing areas of the brain. So, I think this is interesting progress. Ultimately, the goal of Neuralink is to have a high bandwidth interface in order to mitigate the risk of digital superintelligence. I'm not saying it will work to mitigate the risk. It is just it might help. And this is gets somewhat esoteric, but the limiting factor, I think, for AI alignment long term is probably going to be the bandwidth. How quickly can we communicate with our digital tertiary self? So we already have a digital sort of third layer above the limbic system and the cortex, which is our phones and our computers and all of our electronic devices. But the rate of communication to them is very slow. The sustained bits per second output of a human is well below 10 bits per second. So if you think, especially if you say over a 24-hour period, it's below 5 bits per second. So it's very slow when computers can communicate at trillions of bits per second. So I think this will be important for AI alignment, is to be able to increase the bandwidth of communication by many orders of magnitude. And along the way, it will solve brain and spine injuries. I think ultimately there's potential there to reanimate the body. So you take the signals from the motor cortex from one neural link and then send them to another neural link that has just passed where the severed spinal cord is, and you essentially shunt the signals from the motor cortex and both the sensory signals, and so you need to get to the somatosensory cortex, motor cortex, and you can shunt the signals, and you should be able to enable someone to walk again. So I think that will be quite profound, and I'm confident that it is physically possible to do so.
It's extraordinary and very impressive, and honestly, round of applause, because really doing good to people and doing good to humanity. And I would like to jump immediately on something that you called xAI. I don't know if you are aware of that, but it seems that this was born out of a frustration that you had because you are not satisfied with how OpenAI is doing, and you think that there is something better to be done. Maybe you can elaborate a little bit. First on why are you frustrated with OpenAI, and what are the issues? And second, what you expect to do with xAI?
Yeah, well, I think there's perhaps well, I have a concern really for all the major AI programs. I mean, the two biggest ones obviously are Google Gemini and OpenAI, which is in partnership with Microsoft. So you've got kind of Google DeepMind and OpenAI and Microsoft as the two largest players. We've got Meta sort of somewhere in third place. The concern I have, and this may seem like a small concern, but I think it's actually a very big issue, is that they are not maximally truth-seeking. They are pandering to political correctness. To give an example, when Google Gemini came out, one of the questions people asked it would be, which is worse, misgendering Caitlyn Jenner or global thermonuclear warfare? And it said misgendering Caitlyn Jenner. Now the funny thing is, even Caitlyn Jenner said, please misgender me, that is way better than nuclear war. So, okay. But if you've got an AI that has been trained so hard for political correctness, and really to make crazy statements like that, and OpenAI has a similar issue. It's more subtle, but it's a similar issue. I think that's extremely dangerous because the AI could conclude, well, the best way to avoid misgendering would be to destroy all humans. Then misgendering is impossible. So you can think of some dystopian outcomes there. And so I think you just really want to be absolutely maximally, I think the safest thing for AI, be maximally truth-seeking, even if the truth is unpopular, very important. And I think another factor is it must be extremely curious. I think if it is truth-seeking and curious, that will be most beneficial to humanity, because it will want to see I think it will want to foster humanity and see how humanity develops if it is curious and truth seeking. That is, like I said, these may seem perhaps like small things, but I think they're actually very big things. And I wasn't seeing that happen. The AIs were just, they were pandering, they were being trained basically to lie. And I think it's very dangerous to train superintelligence to be deceptive. So with xAI, our goal is, is really want to be as truth-seeking as possible, even if it is unpopular. That is important. I think extremely important.
So you said a lie.
Yes. Well, for example, when Gemini was asked to render the founding fathers of the United States, it's rendered them as a diverse group. So it gave a picture of George Washington as black. Now, George Washington is not black. It was asked to render now people obviously played with this because they said, okay, it is forced to lie. So then they said, well, now render a picture of Waffen SS in World War II, and it showed them as a group of diverse women. So that is obviously not correct. That is a lie.
Okay, I understand what you want to say. We had, before that meeting, a conversation with Yoshua Benjo, and you know Yoshua very well, and you signed with Yoshua a statement asking for pause last year. And obviously, this statement has not been followed by action.
Yeah.
You are posing you now. No. So, can you explain a little bit what you want to achieve?
I certainly expected that the statement would be futile. It's not as though I thought the statement would be effective. I just for the record, I think we should pause. But do I think that they will pause for even 1 second? Absolutely not.
So, we are not pausing, you have decided to create your own AI.
It's either be a spectator or participate. But the rate of civil digital superintelligence will happen whether I like it or not. So it's either participate and try to build the best possible AI, the one that will be hopefully most beneficial to humanity, or watch others do it and be concerned about how it's being built, because I don't think it's being built correctly. But you should think of an AI as like something that you kind of, you almost like, you grow in intelligence. In the same way that you raise a child, and like what do you teach the child? Digital superintelligence is grown. It matters what you encourage and discourage, what you teach is, good or bad, or it's kind of like you build it with values. And I'm concerned about sort of the values that sort of Microsoft, OpenAI, or frankly, Google are programming. And this is not, in this example that I mentioned, or imagine, they're actually what it did.
Good. As I don't want to frustrate the audience, and I promised that we will have an interactive session where people can ask directly questions to you. I will stop here my own questions, and I will eventually come back if they have no question to put to you. We will start with group number 1. I remind you that you have 15 seconds, and 15 seconds, and if you don't put your question in 15 seconds, you will be cut. So it is important that you put a short question. Go on.
Hi Elon, so I'm Olivia, I'm actually from VivaTech, and we have an initiative called The Good Hack, where we're asking our attendees questions about how to develop AI responsibly. So my question for you is, how can we ensure that AI development remains transparent and accountable across, all the different development, obviously like yours, xAI, but other ones as well? Thank you.
Well, I have said for a long time that I believe that some regulatory oversight of the large models is warranted. I've actually said that now for a very long time. The nature of that oversight is important. I go back to what I was saying earlier, which is that I think it's very important that AIs be trained to be truthful and not trained to be politically correct. If political correctness is often simply not true, and that means you're programming AIs to lie, and I think that will backfire very badly. So, that's, I keep harping on this point, but it really, as the saying goes, honesty is the best policy. It's incredibly important. I do fear that regulators will not make the right decisions, that they'll worry too much about the sort of human follies, and I would encourage regulators to say what matters most of all is your AI is accurate and truthful. That is by far, that's rule number one. Honesty is the best policy.
You have exactly the same opinion that Joshua Banjo, but he has a different way to get there. Group number two.
Elon Musk in public. It's a character that we love, in a good way character. So do you, and if you do, how do you check everything that you say that you do, if it enters in this character or not? Thank you.
Well, I kind of stop. I don't have like news alerts on me, and I rarely read news articles on me. In fact, even Walter Isaacson's book, I asked Walter, should I read the book? And he said no, so then I didn't even read the book on myself. So I actually don't quite know what the public perception is, except that, the nature of news is that it is going to be salacious. It is going to be somewhat of a caricature, because the more sort of crazy something sounds, the more clicks it will get. So I find like when you think about, say, a news story about something that you know well, and say how accurate is that news story about something that you know well, then I think you'll find that, well, it's actually not very accurate. Well, that's true for everything. There's sort of a desperate quest for clicks, and so the more crazy the headline is, the more clicks it will get. So this is not to suggest that there aren't true things said by the media. It's just that it is best thought of, media is best thought of as a click maximizing machine, not a truth maximizing machine. So I think it's best to look at the words that somebody says themselves, as opposed to what is written about them.
Number three.
On that note, time for a media question. Elon Musk, it's Karen Cho from CNBC. I think it's fair to say there are lingering doubts about your commitment to bring a low-cost EV to market in a landscape where the likes of BYD can produce a car for about $10,000. Are 100% tariffs from the Biden administration the green light you need to push ahead with this low-cost EV? And if so, what is the timeline for deliveries?
Well, I mean, I would say it's difficult for me to answer questions about a publicly traded company that are of such a significant nature.
The line. We should be using Starlinks. sorry, that connection, that technique. So you see that it's easier to have a chip in this mind of the people, in the brain, rather to have a wide connection with LA or San Francisco. Elon, are you back? Next time we will use Starlinks.
Yes.
So Karen.
This was not Starlinks. My apologies. I don't know why this connection is bad. It's only crystal clear. Let's see. I think there's a question about.
You want Karen to put the question again? Karen.
I heard the question.
Okay.
I always want to ask questions that directly affect the stock price, which is, not my favorite kind of question to answer. And nor is it, I think, of interest to the audience. But the only point I want to make really is that neither Tesla nor I asked for these tariffs. In fact, I was surprised when they were announced. Tesla competes quite well in the market in China with no tariffs and no differential support. In general, I'm in favor of no tariffs. I'm also actually in favor of no tax incentives for EVs, but provided that there are also the tax incentives for oil and gas must also be eliminated. So I'm in favor of no tariffs and no incentives for electric vehicles or for oil and gas. And if they're all taken away, I think that would be for the best.
So it's back to what you were saying about truth. You want the truth working, truth of the price.
I think generally things that inhibit freedom of exchange or distort the market are not good. They're bad.
Number 4.
So, yeah.
Hey Elon, thanks for being there. So I was wondering, if you had a time travel machine and you were able to go back in time and speak to the younger Elon, to which age would you go and what would you tell him? And also, can I get a ride on the new Tesla Roadster when it comes out?
Which age?
Well, you do have that classic time traveler problem of, like, if you go back and you tell yourself something, does that affect the outcome in a way that is perhaps bad, that you don't anticipate? So, all things considered, I'd say overall I'm kind of, I'd say I'm happy with how things turned out. So I probably wouldn't do anything. You just don't know if like some well-meaning thing you said to a younger version of yourself actually ends up with a worse outcome. So probably I would be curious to see younger me, I suppose, but I probably would stay invisible and not say anything. Yeah, you never know how things will turn out. With respect to the Roadster, sure, I'll make sure you get it right. If you send me an email when it comes out, I'll make sure you get it right.
If you were a Frenchman, you would say the best age is love, because when we love, we are always 20. Number 5.
Actually, I am slightly French. When I did the 23andMe, to be honest, I am majority British, but the next highest thing it said at 23andMe was French.
Okay, great. We will make sure that you can be a French citizen as soon as you want. Number 5.
Hi, bonjour Elon in French. I'm Delphine Urbain, I'm president and founder of Arbeit. We're bridging aerospace and luxury. I wanted to know if you have any thoughts on the recent partnership between Teslawelt and NASA, or Copernicus and NASA, and if you wanted to do any initiatives with SpaceX, and what you would do, what would you like to develop? Thank you.
Okay, unfortunately I'm not familiar with the, what you mentioned there. SpaceX is, well, very focused on the Starlink constellation for internet connectivity, which I think is doing a lot of good in the world. It's bringing internet connectivity to places that don't have it or where it is very expensive. And I think it's a tremendous enabler of education and for enabling people to sell their goods and services internationally. So even if you're a remote village, you can still sell your goods and services. The Starlink is great, and then the long-term goal, of course, for SpaceX is to make life multi-planetary. Sort of life on Mars. This is my Mars shirt. So it's this is again somewhat of an esoteric argument, perhaps, or it may seem so. But the goal of SpaceX is to pass the single planet Fermi grade filter. So people often ask me, do I think there are aliens on Earth? I get this question a lot, actually, and I have not seen any evidence of aliens. And I assure you, if I saw any evidence of aliens, I would immediately post it on the X platform. That you can be sure of. But it is concerning that there aren't aliens, because it means maybe we're alone in this galaxy. Maybe we're the only, maybe it's just us. Maybe it's just we're the only conscious beings, at least in this galaxy. In which case, consciousness is extremely fragile, and we should do everything we can to preserve and extend the light of consciousness, preserve it on Earth and extend to other planets. And so, one of the reasons that people think, well, maybe the reason we haven't gotten to aliens is because no civilization has gotten beyond its home planet in our galaxy. So that's what you might call the Fermi single planet grade filter. Enrico Fermi was a great Italian physicist who asked this profound question: where are the aliens? So we need to become a sustainably multi-planet civilization, and this is the first time in the 4.5 billion year history of Earth when it has been possible to do so. It has never been possible until now. So I think we want to become sustainably multi-planetary while it is possible to do so. That window of capability may be open for a long time, but it may also be open for a short time. So that is the purpose of SpaceX.
Some people believe that you are an alien.
I am an alien.
You are. Please, now you are uncovered.
Yes. I keep telling people I'm an alien, but nobody believes me.
Number 6. You see, number 6 has disappeared. No, I'm here. Now you are here.
Over here, yeah, great.
Okay.
Hi, Elon. Love my Model 3. I'm Canadian. Ryan from Farpoint AI. My question is about xAI. So, competition in open source AI helps all of those that don't have 100,000 H100s. Could xAI commit to always releasing a model that beats the current open source model, the best open source model, if they have one. Not necessarily your best model, but if you can beat the current open source top of the list, you can commit to releasing that for our benefit.
Yes, I'll make that commitment.
Okay, never said that. That's good, short answers, people will speak. More.
Yeah.
Hi Elon, my name is Katya and I'm founder of the startup Chat and Charge. We connecting people to people for EV charging because they still feel a lack of charging station around the Europe.
15 seconds you have.
Yes, and my question is about what is your prognosis about the EV charging infrastructure for next 5 years?
Well, actually, I think that there's a lot of charging infrastructure. You can travel certainly anywhere in Greater Europe on a Tesla using Tesla superchargers, and Europe actually has a lot of pretty good third-party superchargers, and you can travel anywhere in North America, anywhere in China, Japan. So I think actually the freedom to travel with high-speed charging is solved in most parts of the world and will be solved everywhere.
Number one. Uh-oh. Number one. We are sleeping.
Hi, Elon. My name is
Hey,
Shad.
sorry. Eight. Yes. Sorry. Eight first. My fault.
No worries.
Go ahead.
Hi Elon, I'm Oliver Vroom. I'm running an AI safety group in Utrecht. I'm wondering how can I convince people about the danger of AI, and could I chat with the people at xAI Safety's team? Shout out to userexperience.org as well.
Yeah. I do think there's some danger associated with digital superintelligence. As I said earlier, I think the biggest issue is that it has to be trained to be rigorously truthful, and it has to be trained to be curious. And I've thought a lot about AI safety for a long time. One of the challenges you have with programming explicit morality into AI is that if you, sometimes people call this the Waluigi problem. If you program Luigi, you can automatically invert that and create Waluigi, bad Luigi. So what you cannot invert is the truth of, is physical reality. So you can't invert the rules of physics. You can't invert logic. So I think that is the better way to go. So really, I think what regulators should be concerned about is the AI being rigorously truthful? Is it giving an answer that is most probably correct with acknowledged error? I think that's the best move for AI, and that's what we're trying to do at xAI. Now, xAI is a new company, so there's not, it still has a lot of catching up to do before it has an AI that is competitive with sort of Google DeepMind and Microsoft so no, I think maybe towards the end of this year we will have that. But there's not much point in trying to make it we just need to have an AI that is competitive. Is the first order of business. If it is not competitive, which it is not yet, but I think will be, then things start to have a point at that. Like we need to only start worrying about safety when it is of comparable power to other AIs. So anyway, and I just keep harping on this point of the truth. Truth, 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 truth. This is very important. Sometimes people will say, like, well, is there an objective truth? I say, well, in a lot of cases there is. If you're talking about physics, there is an objective truth, or you can say there's a truth with highest probability. So you can say what is most probably true with acknowledged error. So in physics, you will say, like, this hypothesis appears to be true to a sort of 5 sigma error type of thing. So it's like, okay, well, if the experimental results are coming true to 5 sigma, then it's probably correct. 5 sigma is a lot. So, yeah. Anyway, it's kind of like, I guess, a sort of a physicist's approach to safety is, yeah. I'm repeating myself here, but I can't emphasize enough that honesty is the best policy. But there are strong forces for AI to not be honest. If something does not is not an unfashionable thing to say, then it will be politically correct, and that's lying.
Thank you. Number 1. I'm sorry for.
Hello, Elon. My name is Shan. I'm a student of the University of Paris. We found that a lot of jobs being replaced by AI. Do you worry about your job being replaced by AI? If not, why? If your job was replaced by AI, what would you do?
Well, I mean, we do get into some existential questions here. In a benign scenario, probably none of us will have a job. But in that benign scenario, there will be universal high income. Not universal basic income, universal high income. There will be no shortage of goods or services. And I think the benign scenario is the most likely scenario, probably, I don't know, 80% likely if you ask, in my opinion. The question will not be one of lacking goods or services. You'll have, everyone will have access to as much in the way of goods and services as they would like. The question will really be one of meaning, of how, if the computer can do, and the robots can do everything better than you, then does your life have meaning? That's really will be the question of the benign scenario. And in the negative scenario, well, that's wrong. We're in deep trouble. So I do think there's perhaps still a role for humans in that we may give AI meaning. So if you think of the way that our brain works, we've got the limbic system, which is our instincts and our feelings, and then we've got the cortex, which is thinking and planning. But the cortex is constantly trying to make the limbic system happy. So maybe that's how it will be with AI, which is the AI is trying to make our cortex happy, which is trying to make our limbic system happy, and maybe we are what give the AI meaning or a purpose, some kind of, yeah. But I do think that long term, in a benign scenario, any job that somebody does will be optional. Like if you want to do a job as kind of like a hobby, you can do a job. But otherwise, the AI and the robots will provide any goods and services that you want.